Well, this morning we're at the Crown Ravinia Hotel where the Coca-Cola Collectors Club Atlanta chapter will be holding a flea market. This is an indoor flea market where people will come and buy, sell, and swap Coca-Cola memorabilia. So we're going to be going inside the swap meet to give you a sense of what folks have to sell and why did they ever begin this hobby of collecting Coke memorabilia.
At a swap meet, you really never know what you're going to find. Sometimes some old stuff, sometimes some newer stuff, and sometimes just some interesting stuff. One of the more popular items at the swap meet are glass bottles. Phil sat down with Doug McCoy, one of the premier glass bottle collectors, to talk about his collection.
Well, today mainly I've got on the table here is the ACL style bottles that Coke and Coca-Cola products that were used from the 1960s, pretty much to the 1990s, before they went all to the plastic bottles. I mean, they're pretty reasonable price. That's one reason I think why people like collecting them now too, that they're just in everybody's price range.
So if glass bottles aren't your thing, perhaps trays will be. Trays are one of the most popular collectibles. Phil speaks with Dave Sharon about his bottle collection. By the way, check out Phil's hat.
Well, my story, my father-in-law was one of the very early collectors. He got Ann and I started, and we've been collecting about 35 years. You know, they just, the pretty girls and everything, the older trays and everything, that was my first love and everything. And the calendars, love the calendars.
So collecting trays out of your price range? How about paper bags?
So what we're looking at on this table is a display of what were called dry servers. These were little devices that were used to hold bottles of Coca-Cola that came right out of the cooler. And for the ladies, it would kind of insulate the hand against the coolness of the bottle. And then if you put it down on a piece of furniture, these would fold under and they would protect the furniture so you wouldn't get that ugly ring that would take place if you set the bottle down on that directly.
Well, as you can see, you can find just about anything at a Coke swap meet, from bags to bottles to Barbies, and other things like posters and signs. Now, Andrea Mathis tells Phil that she found something completely different at a Coke swap meet. Her husband.
But our first date officially was when we went to Kansas City to the Big Mac meeting. It's called that then.
One of the regional collectors meetings.
And we drove up to Kansas City. He says, we're a little early. He says, I want to go out to the plant. And he kind of drove around to the back. He says, just stay here. He says, I'll be back shortly. And all of a sudden I see this tush disappear into a trash bin. And this stuff comes flying out of there. Look what I found. Look what I found. I thought, oh my God, that's what I'm going to marry. Yeah. So my first date with him was
dumpster diving, basically.
Dumpster diving, right.
Wonderful. And how long have you been married now?
29 years.
That's fantastic.
29 Coca-Cola years.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that. That's great.
You're welcome.